Imagine holding an old paper map. You can see where everything is, but you have to figure out how to get from one place to another on your own. It's a bit static, and you're left to navigate without much help. This is what Web 1 looked like. Now imagine you're on a guided tour. The guide leads you to interesting spots, shares insights, and even lets you choose a few places to explore. But remember, the guide controls the route and what you experience. This is what Web 2 looks like at present. Now, what if you could explore freely with a personalized guide that adjusts to your preferences on the fly? You're no longer following a fixed route, and you have the freedom to go wherever you want, discovering new places on your own terms. This is the vision for Web 3. So you've heard about Web 3, but you might still be wondering what it is or how it works. That's totally fine. You're not the only one. Web 3 is like the next big step for the internet. Even though it's just starting out, when this vision really happens, it's going to change everything. It will make the internet better by giving people more control, instead of letting big companies guide the journey and decide everything. Hi everyone, I'm Eagle Earn from Web3 Wealth Official. And in this video, we're going to talk about what Web 3 is, how it differs from Web 1 and Web 2, and how things like blockchain and cryptocurrency are related to it. But before we dive into all that, it would mean the world to us if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel for easy-to-understand crypto terms, captivating crypto news stories, and inspiring crypto documentaries. Alright, let's jump right in. To understand what Web 3 is, we first need to know what Web 1 and Web 2 are. Web 1 was the very first stage of the internet from 1991 to 2003. Internet specialists call it the read-only web because you could mostly just read things. Websites were very simple, made of plain text and links. There weren't any cool buttons or fancy designs like we have now. To give you an example, Yahoo.com has been a well-known website to many people all over the world. It was like a giant list on the internet that helped you find other websites. The design was simple, just links to different pages. You couldn't do much more than click on those links and see more links. It had no user profile pictures, no animations, no external links, and no integrated messaging features. You only consumed content by clicking through these static, read-only pages. Even though it looks old-fashioned now, it was really useful at the time. I believe this pretty much shows how Web 1 was all about. Alright, let's shift our focus to Web 2, the second phase of internet evolution. If you compare modern sites like YouTube or Etsy to something like Yahoo Directory, you'll notice just how much things have changed, at least on the surface. Gone are the days when the internet was dominated by simple text and hyperlinks. Now, we're surrounded by images, videos, apps, games, pop-ups, animations, and, of course, ads. But I know you're eager to dive into what Web 3 is all about. To do that, we need to explore how today's internet is built and why it functions the way it does. This is where the major shifts are happening. Let me use an analogy to make it clearer. Picture Web 2 as a massive ocean wave. It starts off small but grows as it moves forward, pulling in more water and gaining strength. This is a good way to think about how Web 2 has developed over time. Modern websites, whether they're search engines, online marketplaces, or social media platforms, collect data, absorbing smaller waves. Think of these as smaller sites or individual pieces of information, which makes the wave even bigger. Consider how you can search for nearly anything on Google, or buy almost any product on Amazon. This represents the centralization of the internet. But these large waves don't just accumulate water, they also combine with other waves. Sometimes, these enormous waves split into smaller ones to cover more ground, but they're still connected to the same ocean. Take Facebook and Instagram as an example. They're like two waves within the same ocean, both owned by the same company, Meta. When you see that various online platforms are actually connected like waves within a bigger ocean, it becomes clear just how centralized Web 2 has become. The downside is that once you're swept up in one of these big waves, you lose control over your own small wave. Your data gets caught up in the larger swell, often used without your permission. In the days of Web 1, internet users were like people standing on the shore, observing the waves. But with Web 2, we've been pulled into the ocean and are now part of those waves. Tech corporations like Alphabet and Meta harvest our data and sell it to advertisers for their own profit. The challenge is that we don't have a reliable way to control how much of our data we're unintentionally contributing to this vast ocean. This is exactly what Web3 aims to address. Internet experts often describe Web3 as the read-write tone phase of the internet, aiming to end the trade of personal data for profits and break up corporate monopolies. In Web 2, data is the primary currency, but to change that, a new network must be built using a different medium of exchange like a coin. Cryptocurrency networks such as Ethereum make this shift easier. Ethereum, for instance, uses its native coin, ETH, and allows users to access services by paying a fee in ETH. Each user has an Ether wallet, which doesn't share personal information. Only the wallet's public address, a random string of numbers and letters, is visible. Interestingly, the term Web3 was actually coined by Gavin Wood, co-founder of Ethereum. So we're swapping out data for digital currency, but how does that really fix anything? Well, that's because Web3 networks are decentralized and open. Decentralization means these networks can be maintained by anyone with a computer and internet access without relying on centralized servers. This ensures that no single entity controls the network or can sell your data without community consent. Besides, Web3 is open, meaning it's permissionless, trustless, and mostly developed on open-source software. Trustless and permissionless interactions occur directly between two parties without middlemen, thanks to smart contracts. A smart contract is essentially a self-operating program that enables secure transactions and agreements between anonymous parties without needing a centralized authority. Once executed, these transactions are recorded on the blockchain, making them traceable and irreversible, much like sending Bitcoin between users. Another goal of Web3 is to challenge the dominance of tech titans that control Web 2. While breaking up these companies will require legislation, Web3 offers an alternative to the traditional corporate structure. Instead of the familiar pyramid with CEOs and shareholders at the top, Web3 envisions organizations structured more like a flat circle, where everyone has an equal stake. This idea is embodied in decentralized, autonomous organizations, which are also known as DAOs, where users participate in governance and operation, effectively becoming both participants and shareholders. These organizations are governed by smart contracts, ensuring that everyone follows the same rules. With decentralized applications running on decentralized networks and governed by DAOs, the final piece of the Web3 puzzle is you. Navigating Web3 will involve managing various currencies, NFTs, and digital assets, which you'll store in encrypted digital wallets, also known as Web3 wallets. These Web3 wallets, much like real-world wallets, will securely hold your assets and serve as your digital identity on Web3. They'll be interoperable across different networks, allowing you to access various decentralized applications. You'll also likely have greater control over how much information you share, moving away from the current model of endless cookie pop-ups. If you'd like to dig into more details about Web3 wallets, just click the card in the top right corner. Well, Web3 promises a new internet era focused on privacy and community governance. There are 3 key challenges to overcome. Accessibility is one issue, as interacting with Web3 protocols and applications requires a level of knowledge and experience that isn't yet widespread. Scalability is another challenge because Web3 is decentralized, transactions and decisions are slower, and current networks can't handle billions of users yet. Finally, it's important to remember that Web3 is still mostly a vision. We understand its core principles, but the fact that its final form will still depend on unpredictable factors like government regulation is unavoidable. Despite these challenges, Web3 is on track to become the next evolution of the internet. An internet where personal data is no longer the main currency, where big tech companies no longer rule. and where the internet truly belongs to you. Thank you so much everyone for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button and smash subscribe for more Web3, crypto, and blockchain stories. It would mean the world to us if you could kindly share this video to your friends and family. Plus, let us know in the comments which part of Web3 you're most excited about. We hope you had fun learning with us, and guess what? We can't wait to see you in our next video.